Tell me about Lou.
Lou was my dad. He started racing when he was really young.
Did anybody before him race?
No.
How did Lou get into it?
His dad liked racing. My granddad liked racing. My dad had two other brothers, and all three of them raced. Dad was the oldest. Youngest got killed in a highway accident when he was 20, 21. So he didn't race much. Middle brother Bob raced quite a bit, was badly injured in a race car accident. So Dad was the only one left and ran a long, long time.
What kind of car was he injured in?
Like a dirt track, late model type thing.
Oh.
In Ohio.
What year? Like decade?
70s.
Okay.
Early to mid 70s.
Okay. I got you.
And my dad raced through early 60s to 2000, 40 years.
What?
Probably, yeah.
When did he run his last race?
2002,
What?
3.
Man.
Yeah. He raced for a long time and was really, really good.
You're pretty big on your family's history, and what do you think about Lou when you?
You know, the only thing that I can't really say I regret it, but I wish was different was I wish I was just older. When he was still racing, because Dad said he stopped in 02, 03,
Yeah.
somewhere around there. I was only 10 years old, so I can't remember much of kind of watching him race and talking to him. And then he got sick. What year do you think he started to get sick?
Well, that's why he quit racing.
Yeah.
Really, it was starting.
Yeah, so he had Alzheimer's, and then it kind of happened quickly. So it was hard for me to really even sit down and like understand racing stuff. I just wish I was older to really be able to talk to him and understand what was going on. But I love hearing stories about him. I feel like every time I go to Ohio or some racetracks, a fan has a story about Lou, and I always enjoy listening to that stuff.
What kind of driver was he?
He was, well, I'm biased probably, but I think most people that watch him would say the same thing. He was the best of both worlds. He ran harder than anybody at the racetrack that he raced with, but he was cleaner than anybody. And it was one of those guys, he won more than anybody as well, and nobody ever booed this guy. You had to like him to run like that.
It's impressive when you win all the time and they still cheer you.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't see it much.
You don't.
Yeah.
No.
So what got you into racing? I mean, obviously you're influenced by your dad, but like literally, my dad put a newspaper down on the table in front of me and my brother, and there was an article about street stocks on it. That's how we got to driving.
Yeah.
What triggered you?
Well, we grew up every week going to the short tracks with him. So we raced go-karts a little bit when we were in our teens, my brother and I. And I don't know.
Were you racing on the oval or road courses?
Yeah, no, just dirt track,
Yep.
go-kart stuff. And
What kind of chassis did you have? We were talking about this last week. I had a Margay.
I did too. Yeah.
Oh, so he was in the club.
He's in the Margay club.
Yeah, got it. All right, yeah.
There was a club? I didn't even know there was a club.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently there was.
Like the Jeep club.
That would have been late 70s is when I would have done it. So I didn't really bug him to drive a race car. He had his own sprint car when I was 17, 18. And one day he's like, well, you want to give it a shot here? I'm like, well, yeah. But I wasn't bugging him relentlessly or anything like that.
Were you having real success in your go-kart?
We didn't do it that much. Didn't love it, honestly. We loved the racing part of it. But
When you
then
say we, who's we?
my brother and I.
Mm-hmm. Were you and him sharing a cart, or y'all have carts?
No, we both had a cart. He was a year younger than I was, so we did everything together.
And this is Dale.
Dale,
Blaney.
right?
All right.
And
You're younger, but about 10 inches taller. So I don't know.
10?
Dang.
All right, a foot.
No, other way.
So Dale's a little guy?
Dale's a big guy.
Big guy.
That's
Oh, I
big.
got you.
Yeah.
Dale was
Yeah.
an NBA draft pick.
We saw that. We
Literally.
saw that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
For the Lakers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All-American at West Virginia University. He was good.
He was drafted in '86, and he quit. Did he go into the organization, the Lakers organization?
Yeah, it's a weird story, and I'm probably not the one to tell it. He's probably one that should tell it.
Give it a
But
shot.
this was
Yeah.
mid-'80s when Magic Johnson, Kareem, all them guys there. And he's a third-round maybe draft pick for them. Went to summer league, and I remember him telling me Byron Scott maybe was point guard then. Told me he just whipping Byron Scott in summer league. I'm like, okay. And he could do it all. I mean, he was 6'4", jump out of the gym. My brother was. He was unbelievable athlete. So they get into preseason or whatever, and they tell him they're going to keep him. Like he's made the team, and he leaves. He wants to go racing bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He's never talked much about it, and I don't know if he didn't love what was going on in Los Angeles. He wasn't a big city kid, right? And he's right in LA with all these guys. And
So you're not necessarily buying all that he's putting out there. Like you think there might have been something more to it?
no, I don't know if I buy it or don't. He just never talked about it much.
The Lakers were like a dynasty at the time, and
I
he's a
know.
draft pick, and he's whooping Byron Scott, and he just decides to go racing. I mean, like, racing had that much of a gravitational pull?
Evidently.
I guess so. Man.
But,
Yeah.
But hey,
Yeah.
and it was tougher back then. There wasn't as many teams in the NBA. That was before expansion.
Yeah.
There wasn't as many jobs, so it was hard to make, let alone get drafted. It's hard to make
He
a team.
absolutely had what it took to
Yes.
get to do
Yes.
it. Man,
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes.
So, you were talking about your dad coming up to you and asking you about driving his car. So your car's sitting there, and he's like, "You want to race it this weekend?" Were you? I mean, I imagine you weren't too nervous about that, right? You were like, "Heck yeah, I'm ready to go."
No, I was more nervous than I was, heck yeah, ready to go.
Okay. Why were you nervous?
I don't know. Just something new. I wasn't a kid to fly into everything, I guess. It was something new and different. And I don't think I was tentative in the car. I went right out there and wrecked it running wide open, but I was still nervous before I got in it probably. But I didn't, in our area, he was a big name, and I didn't, you went through this 10 times more than me, but the kind of pressure when you come behind your dad like that. But I didn't really feel that for some reason. I guess I wasn't smart enough to even feel it. I just
Too
run
young.
wide open.
Yeah. So how'd it go?
It went good. We ran a family car for my dad for 2-3 years, and he was smart enough to send me out traveling a little bit, racing different guys, different tracks, not just sticking right around home, which is what made you better back in those days. And it went well enough for a couple years where at that point in sprint car racing, there was lots of guys with race cars, and so I got hired by this guy, that guy, and it kind of took off from there, and he didn't have to pay the bill anymore.
So this is happening in the early 80s.
Early 80s, yeah.
And your brother's not racing yet.
Yeah, he's in college playing ball, and
Do you think that you're racing and how much you're maybe having fun doing it and all that sort of was the
oh yeah,
draw for him?
no doubt. He's getting older and older, and I've already got. Man, he got drafted, then he played a couple years, and after he left the Lakers, he actually tried to go back. He left.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he left, and who was the guy? Pat Riley was the coach, and I think this is in Pat Riley's book. He talks about Dale a little bit.
Wow. Dang.
Yeah, and so Dale said change his mind, want to go back. So they took him back, but then at the end of training camp they let him go to keep another big guy or something. So he goes to that. I don't know what the minor league was at that point. I forget. CBA was called, I guess. He played that couple years, won a title 1 year, got hurt the next year, and he had blew out his ACL, and back then that was a year to get back.
Sure.
And then immediately did the other one. So here we go, full-time racing.
Okay. Well,
Hey,
And
Ryan,
he's late getting started at
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
Yeah.
do you look at your career in the Dirty Mo basketball league sort of in the same way as Uncle Dale's
He jumps
career
like
in
his
the NBA?
Uncle Dale. I tell you that. He does.
I'm kidding.
I still think that rim was like a couple inches too low.
Whoa!
'Cause I could dunk on your rim, and I know I can't dunk.
I don't remember him dunking on our.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He in
Yeah.
a game.
Well, not in
Oh,
a game, but
well.
like messing around.
It was not. It was an imperfect league.
It was like
Even the height of the rim.
Yeah.
it was a little low. Okay. But it made me feel good at
Yeah.
least, so it made me feel like an athlete.
Yeah.
But
So Dale went back, didn't really work out as far as going to the NBA. So does he try to go back racing?
Yeah, he hadn't even started racing yet.
Yeah.
When
Oh, does he? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
after his second knee surgery, he just got full-time into racing, and he had to be 26 by that point, which is.
Yeah.
But he still ended up with a really good career out
Yeah.
of it.
So when he starts and you're running, you and him real tight, right? Growing up, right? You're really tight, doing everything together.
We're really tight now. Back then, he's younger than me. He can beat me at every single thing we ever do, right?
Yeah.
He's way bigger, better athlete. now I've been driving a while. I got a little edge on him in the driving category to start.
Right.
But yeah, I helped get his first car and get him going and helped him. Yeah.
What'd you do? How'd you get him a car?
Well, a guy that had been helping my car owner, he wanted to have his own car, so well, let's do something with Dale, and so we got him a car going and helped him, figure out how to work on it, how to drive it.
How like what was that like? Because like I went through this a little bit with my brother Kerry.
Yeah.
Where I grew up with Dad, and I went to the races, and man, I had all the knowledge of being there and experiencing it and watching it, and Kerry didn't grow up with us, didn't go to the races. So when Kerry got into racing, man, he was green, he hadn't experienced nothing, right?
Yeah.
Didn't know how to begin to drive a car. And so what was that like for you, having finally you're the guy that has all of the experience and doing well, and now your brother's trying to do something that you're really good at?
Yeah, I was I was all in. We were helping as all we could, and it's just about getting experience and time and trying to shortcut his learning curve by explaining something. If you see him do it wrong once, explain it and don't let him do it wrong 15 times. Same thing as it was with you as a youngster. So that's all you can do is help them learn quicker is all you can do.
You ran your first NASCAR race in Rockingham, 1992. So I remember racing you in the Busch Series in '98.
Right.
That was kind of when you got your best sort of. That was I thought at the time was your first shot.
Well, it was really the '92 thing was.
Whose car was
a
that?
little guy named Stan Hoover from Ohio. He ran an ARCA car a few times, but I ran it a few times, and he's got a wild thought of running a cup race here and there, and we did go to a couple, but no, that was
Was it good? Frustrating?
it was an eye opening.
Yeah.
I had never even sat in anything like that, and went to Rockingham and tried to run 500 laps,
Yeah.
and I couldn't even make it. I mean, I couldn't even.
What? How so?
Like I
Just-
could make it.
Were you out?
Just
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you were used to the heat. You weren't. I mean, it was just craziness.
Yeah.
So did you park it?
I think it parked itself.
It parked itself.
I couldn't even do that.
You pushed the clutch
You
in.
said you ran some. You said you ran some ARCA races. What was that experience like?
That was fun.
Where at?
We ran it. I think I ran third at a ARCA race at Atlanta behind Skinner in a RCR car and Tim Steele, who
Yeah.
was bad fast at
Fast.
that point.
Oh, yeah.
So we were okay. I ran one at Michigan.
What was that like though, going from the world, the dirt world, and
Yeah.
running sideways to having to drive something straight?
Yeah, new world. But I had done a lot of different things in my dirt career, different types of cars. So it wasn't just one thing for me, but it was not any pavement. So,
Right.
well, actually, it was a tiny bit of pavement in a Silver Crown car.
Okay.
But the stock cars and huge tracks and going that fast was all different. But
How did you have to? What was the toughest part about it? I mean, because what I'm asking for is, when we see guys, IndyCar guys come down to NASCAR, or dirt guys go drive a cup car, or vice versa, those guys go drive a dirt car.
yeah.
Right? This is just a completely different discipline. There's different things you're doing with your hands and your feet. And what was the toughest part, I think, for you?
Just getting even in the ballpark, right? So I remember some of these NASCAR races when I first went, and I probably did it in '98 every year. I'd get in the infield, go down to the corner, and watch practice, whether it was cup practice or whatever at that point, and watch where they lifted, where they picked up, everything I could try to learn, just the basics of getting up to speed.